Thank you for joining me. On today's episode of Bible Blueprint of the New Testament, we are looking at the book of First John. Now, First John is 23rd in order in the New Testament. There are 5 chapters in the book of First John, and the type of book it is epistle in general. An overview in the book of First John. Although not expressly stated, these 3 epistles are typically attributed to the Apostle John, who also penned the 4th gospel. Similar in the writing style and language, this epistle was written by John after he had completed his gospel, as it assumed the reader has knowledge of his contents. Most likely written later in John's life, John emphasized the divinity of Jesus and his ministry in the flesh. Now, First John was written between 90 to 95 AD. Time period covered all eras in the age of grace, and the author is the Apostle John. The book of First John has 5 sections. Section 1, lightness, darkness, sin, forgiveness. We see this in chapter 1. John emphasized that Jesus manifested himself in the flesh. John also establishes himself as a first-hand witness to Christ. He encourages that the people to walk in the light and ask for forgiveness when they sin. Section 2, stream of consciousness, love thoughts. We see this in chapter 2. John's thoughts flow evenly from one to another, and he teaches about love. God's love for people, love for one another, and discouragement for loving the world. He expresses assurances of salvation and God's forgiveness. Section 3, great salvation, admonishment of sin. We see this in chapter 3. John exhorts the people to be like Christ and purify themselves. He expresses the real existence of sin and reiterates the importance of refraining from it. He teaches that Christ is the real source of salvation. Section 4, attacking Gnostic belief. John teaches the people not to believe everything they hear, but to question and test what is spoken because of false prophets. He encourages confidence in God's ability to protect. John declares the importance of love, that it is the defining characteristic of a true believer. Section 5, more definitions of Christ. We see this in chapter 5. John declares that keeping God's command is an expression of love for him. He declares that belief in Jesus Christ is necessary for eternal life. Okay, that brings us to the end of our overview on the book of First John. That's all for now. God bless.